Hello and welcome to another Mining Scout interview. My name is Florian Munch, and today we are talking about silver and silver company I'm personally invested in and I want to share with you. So I'm joined today by Michael Townsend. He's director and co-founder of Magma Silver. Hi, Michael.
Hi, Florian. Great to see you.
Good to see you as well. So let us know, let the audience know what is Magma Silver all about. Give us a short introduction, or maybe we start with the silver market because that's the gateway into it.
Yeah, okay. Well, interesting. I mean, silver, I spent a little bit of the weekend going over a couple podcasts or similar interviews with some famous guys like Rick Rule and Eric Sprott. And they're really think that silver is the, silver and all the white metals, as a matter of fact, platinum and palladium are really starting to move right now. They've, silver sort of had a cap at $35. They tried to get through 35 probably 6 or 7 times. And finally, about 2, 3 weeks ago, it broke out through $35, traded as high as 37 and change. It's pulled back a bit. I think today it's probably 36 and a half. Also, platinum's had a massive move, up 20%, I think, in
Yeah.
also in the last month. So it seems like the focus in Canada, the banks, the interest in the white metals and especially silver, has really started to get some traction.
Yeah, we
So
touched on
that's
this
pretty exciting.
pre-recording. Yeah, so the silver price last time it was that high, it was in 2011, 12. So that's more than a decade ago. It was a bull market back then in 2011. Yeah, and yeah, now we're back at it, and some forecasts are saying like 40 silver, $40 an ounce are in reach. So let's see about that.
Yeah, I've heard a lot higher than that. So I mean,
Yes.
in 1980, silver hit $50 a share, and then again in 2011, $50 a share. So 37 is no big deal compared to where gold's gone. Gold broke through its ceiling there at 2000, and it carried on till 3500, 3600. So I think we got a lot more room for silver to go. Eric Sprott's calling 50 to 70 by the end of the year.
Wow.
So, and then on to 2 or 300 ultimately. So, I mean, there's 150 to 200 million ounce deficit yearly, annual deficit that the world is using more silver than they're producing, and that's about 3 years in a row. And then you've got all these bullion banks that are short. They're talking a billion ounces of silver that's short on the COMEX. So, I mean, I think everything's pointing to higher prices, and not to mention all these missiles that are being fired. They carry a lot of silver on them as well.
Yeah.
So,
All
um,
right. Let's tell us about Magma Silver. So what are you planning? It's a pretty new company, so recently financed. Tell us about it.
yeah, it's pretty brand new. We just completed the transaction to acquire the projects. There's two projects and they're side by side, so we're incorporating them into one project. We just completed the transaction April 15th. There was $1.5 million Canadian dollar financing that was completed at the same time, part and parcel financing. These two projects, one of them, the Nina Bamba project, is majority silver, and it was worked by Anglo Gold Ashanti in the 2000 era, and then Bear Creek Silver Mining had the project in early 2000 as well. That project's only had probably 13 or 14 drill holes put into it, but pretty extensive trenching in 2012, and fabulous results from the trenching. And then the project beside that we both have as well now, called Jeremina, it was the subject of about $7 million US worth of exploration during the 2007 to 2012. Newmont did the bulk of that work. They had optioned the property from Southern Peru Copper. They've drilled about 65 holes there.
Mm.
They also did a PFS internal study. They did all the met work. All came back very positive. It was recommended to go forward with the project to their board.
Yeah.
It's a pretty small. Ultimately, right now they have got about 550,000 ounces of silver and 550,000 ounces of gold, 12 million ounces of silver on the Jeremina side, and but expandable.
Yeah.
Certainly not cut off at all. Just not big enough for Newmont. So they
Yeah,
probably,
I mean, it's not maybe a tier one asset that the big companies are looking for, yeah, but potentially highly profitable. I'm just looking at the presentation here, and it's a wonderful outcrop. So I haven't
yes, yeah, it
seen,
sticks right out of the ground.
yeah,
It's hard to miss it.
yes,
Um,
yes, and
yeah.
so it's altered. The color is different. Yeah, you see it, and you did. or not yourself and the team yet, but there has been a trench on this
Yeah,
zone of
there's
the property. It was over 50 meters with a gram per ton gold and almost 100 gram per ton silver.
absolutely, yeah. So basically, a fantastic trench that's never been followed up on. I was involved in the predecessor company that we acquired this project from. It was called Rio Silver. It's still called Rio Silver. They have some other smaller mines that they want to put into production. They sort of changed their focus to be a producing company. And but I was involved in that company as a shareholder investor, and so sometimes you'll hear me say we did those trenches and such. But we did about 20 trenches on the property, and most of them were pretty consistent, pretty spectacular grades. Um, on the Nina Bamba side, where Bear Creek did their drilling, and they didn't even assay for gold, which is strange. We had the opportunity to buy their assays, their drill hole data, and they wanted $100,000 for it, and we turned them down because there was no gold assays, and we didn't think it made any sense. So, but subsequent trenching there, we've actually found a new gold zone on the Nina Bamba property, and that's where some of the better trenches are. And it's the right type of gold mineralization. It's this what they call high sulfidation vuggy silica, and
Mm.
some of the biggest mines in Peru, being Pierina, which of course is owned by Barrick. It's an 8 million ounce deposit. And I might tell you a little story about that one. It was discovered by a junior company in Vancouver called Arequipa. It was a long time ago. It was 1997. But they were up there drilling, similar project to ours. And their stock went from 30 cents to $30 in 1 year, based on that discovery. So that's how these things can go very well very quickly.
Yes,
So
yes,
it's
especially if there's a general market support for precious metals, yeah, which seems we are entering right now.
yeah, absolutely,
Um,
having the wind in your sails or the wind to your back.
yeah, I mean, with a good ex discovery, yeah, you don't need the wind, but it certainly helps.
Yes, exactly. So
So
I want go ahead.
the company is financed. So there was a closing of 1.5 million recently. What are you planning to do with the funds? How are you moving forward? And like I'm interested in an investor looking at the story right now. What's in for the new investor?
Yeah, so the CEO couldn't do the interview today. He's actually in Peru. He's down there meeting with the community, meeting with geologists, meeting with our VP of in-country manager. So really putting the whole thing together. The Rio Silver had already made drilling applications. So we have not received our drill permits yet, but we anticipate to have them in the near future. I think following up on those trenches, a lot of those trenches that I mentioned earlier, they ended in mineralization. So you're trenching and all of a sudden, the last meter of the trench is still mineralized. That
Mhm.
generally means that mineralization is going to continue. So we need to go back and extend some of those trenches. We need to use more modern technology on the geophysics. They will have to just rerun the software. Now with drone technology, we can fly a lot of the property with drones, and initially we won't get into the drilling yet until, of course, we have permits. But there'll be lots of news over the next
Months.
months. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then we're pretty interested in M&A as well. We've been looking at once you announce a deal like this, your phone rings, you get shown other opportunities in the area, other opportunities in the silver space. So we continue to evaluate other projects, and we're keeping some powder dry for in case we need to acquire additional projects. This project really is 50-50 gold and silver. We have in situ value is about $1.5 billion worth of silver and about $1.5 billion worth of gold.
Wow.
So it's about 50-50. And I think that the market right now is really the big leverage, the big opportunity, the torque is in the silver space. So we're looking at some things that are a little more pure silver, a little higher grade on the silver, maybe a little closer to production, underground type opportunities. And So that's kind of what we're doing with the money. We also have been talking to a number of banks, investment banks in Toronto, and we think that there's an opportunity to do a much bigger raise. So we got to dot some I's, cross some T's, and get on the road and probably do a larger raise here, maybe by the end of the summer, something like another 2 million or another 2.5 million Canadian dollars. So that's kind of what we're focusing on, building the story, getting some liquidity in the stock, getting the word out and talking to people, because there's a lot of interest in investing in silver companies right now,
Yep.
and there's a
Yeah.
limited amount of them. There's not that many silver companies out there.
I know. And
So
mostly 70, 80% gold, yeah, but they have silver in the name. So it's good
right.
to have at least 50% new silver thing in Peru.
Right. I would say most of these silver companies have got lead, zinc, copper,
Sure.
all kinds of metals that are not precious metals,
Yeah.
and could be under pressure if a recession comes. And I don't. And most people, it looks like there's a recession on the way. So yeah, price of copper has been doing very well lately. So I don't know, but lead, zinc, they haven't been. There's no torque there. A lot of people expect silver to double or triple, but we don't see that happening with any of the base metals at this point in time.
Okay. Awesome opportunity. I thank you very much for this insight. And if the audience wants to look it up, it's Magma Silver,
Yeah.
MGMA at
Yeah, or
TSX Venture.
magmasilver.com.
Yeah,
Yeah,
magmasilver.com. And we also provide all information for the German shareholders and investment community on Mining Scout. So thank you very
right.
much, Michael.
Oh, thank you. Nice to see you again, Florian.